Welcome to Seth's Daily Podcast. Without you, this wouldn't be possible. Well, me and Chasing the Graft ain't got a name for a podcast yet, but we are every Sunday we're going to be doing a weekly podcast. Me and Chasing the Graft. He has a great podcast. The link to his YouTube channel and his Facebook page will be in the description. And me and Chasing the Graft, Houston, is blessed enough to have an interview with Malcolm Johnson. Malcolm, how are you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing pretty good, fellas. I'm glad to be back. Just trying out something new on a new format. It's just very interesting to get the word out there in a new way of just things going on. And I guess the most important and most immediate thing for me would be that there's my own standalone gig going on at Broken Throne here in Pikeville. It is going to be April the 21st at 7:30 until 9 o'clock. And then, feel free to come early, grab a few beverages. Of course, it won't make the show any worse. It might even make it a little bit better. We'll see what happens.
Hey, Chasing the Graft. I heard UNC got rid of not got rid of, but Roy Williams retired. Man, what was your thoughts on that?
Oh man, as a absolute die-hard Tar Heel fan, Roy Williams did a lot of things with the program. He took the program in the right direction. If I remember correctly, he took over for Matt Doherty, who had like 2 8-win seasons, and he brought us 3 national championships. He handled Duke a lot and handed a lot of L's. So it over the last 3 seasons, you could tell that there was something missing, and it didn't really come as a surprise, but it did come as a surprise. But I wish Hubert Davis the best of luck as they named him head coach. He was a Tar Heel NBA experience. He's got the assistant coaching experience. So I was shocked, but I wasn't shocked. But I'm looking forward to see what Hubert Davis does with the Tar Heels.
You actually got his autograph too.
Yeah, Hubert Davis. Yeah, I got his autograph. What they call through the mail, where you send a player or celebrity or athlete a card, picture, baseball, and then they sign it, send it back. And I sent it to him a couple of years ago after he was introduced as the assistant coach at Chapel Hill, and it took about 2 weeks to get back. So even more excited now to have his autograph now that he's the head coach there.
Who's the musical artist that you've had send you autographs and stuff?
I've had success from Alan Jackson.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I found there's a database that some of us collectors use, and I found his address there, and I sent him 8x10, and about 3 weeks later, it came back as it was inscribed to Houston, Yeehaw, Alan Jackson. Yeah.
What would you say was the through no fault of anyone, not like they were hard to get hold of or anything like that, but you just had the hardest time getting hold of a signature?
That would probably be Archie Manning, because I've got Peyton Manning and Eli Manning I've been wanting to add their dad, Archie, to kind of round that trio out. And in that database and that website, there's an address there, but it's no rhyme or reason to how the people are getting stuff back signed versus the return to senders. And I've sent to that address probably 6 different times, and I've got all return to senders. And I've really been wanting that one to kind of round out that trio.
I would say. And I can imagine that be a frustrating process too. What is your success rate for sending stuff out and then getting a signature back?
I started 10 years ago. I sent a baseball out to a guy that played for the Texas Rangers, and later on that year I got it back, and that was in 2010, and I've been doing it ever since. So in about 11 years now, I've probably had a total of 6 things probably come back not signed, or just not.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty good then.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say if I had to put a percentage on it, I'd probably say 98% come back.
That's impressive.
Nice.
That's very impressive. Malcolm, you have a show coming April the 21st at Broken Throne Brewing. You can talk about that show and talk about what songs you're going to play and how you getting ready for that show?
Well, I mean, the show itself kind of happened in a serendipitous way. I just really got sick of being cooped up. And then as I was scrolling through Instagram, I happened to befriend Broken Throne on there. And I saw that they were having an open mic night. And I was just like, well hell, why not? So I, I up and went on a whim without having, performed probably in well over a year. Yeah, since Christmas of not last year, or not last Christmas, but the one before. And that was for a theatrical show at the Appalachian Center for the Arts, which was a very different atmosphere altogether. So, but yeah, I went on stage, or not on stage. That's so much habit for me. Every time I go up to perform anything, it's like I go on stage. Was there a stage? No, but I went up there anyway.
Makes sense though.
But yeah, it's force of habit at this point. And if I'm not on stage, I'm backstage. That, there it is. And but that being said, I just happened to go out and then perform. I kind of got a little bit embarrassed, and I forgot the second line for one of the songs, and I was just like, well, crap. And then I did the one that I could do by memory, and then embarrassed my girlfriend a little bit because she had to stand in an awkward place in front of everyone so that she could record it, and then I could make awkward eye contact with her the entire time. But I just had fun regardless. I didn't really think anything would result of it. And then Jamie Sloan, I'm unsure if she's the owner and manager, she's just the manager. Either way, she was an amazing person, excuse me. She invited me to come perform for a solo performance, and I was just like, absolutely, yeah, sure, why not? And I've just been preparing for it these last few days and these next few days, just making sure of my set list, as well as kind of reconditioning my fingertips, trying to make sure I get that. I always thought it was a good starting point when the fleshy part of your fingertips sounded like fingernails whenever you would clack on anything wood or plasticky. That's usually a good starting point for being able to play a full show. A friend of mine, he's an amazing bass player, but he had to switch to an upright bass for a show. And I just remember him conditioning his fingertips. Like, he would have blisters, and then he would just come home from one night and then pour himself a shot of rubbing alcohol and then just dunk his fingers in there after popping the blisters. And I'm like, oh my God. But that's my ramble for the moment.
Do you have any, I guess, is there any like nerves coming out of like a COVID-ish retirement, I guess, kind of getting back into the live shows or anything like that? Or is it just kind of business as usual?
Well, I mean, given the times as they are, yes, there is always going to be that fear of going out in public. However, I think that here in Eastern Kentucky, we've been slightly lucky enough to not have a major issue. Yes, we've had singular cases and minor outbreaks in the past, but I mean, as things are winding down for the country and for the rest of the world, Kentucky overall, or at least in the eastern section here in the mountains, especially Appalachia as a whole, I think has kind of been weathered it quite well, in my personal opinion. So it's a mixed bag of hats, but at about 70-30, I'm mostly looking forward to getting back out and doing something, anything. I don't care what it is. And it just, the idea of music being made for a live audience, it stirs one enough to say, heck with it. Well, maybe not heck with it, but with the right precautions, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as people wear masks and stuff and social distance, yeah. Which I
Absolutely.
know there's a lot of people around here that doesn't wear a mask, to be honest. Which I've been inside stores and I've been the only person wearing a mask before.
I mean, to each their own, and the management enforces that to their own ability. And it just really becomes a game of self-responsibility at this point. And I personally have had my second vaccination now, so I'm
Oh,
more
nice.
confident, but I still have I
Which one did
still
you
am
get?
the Pfizer. Yes.
Oh yeah, I actually go for Moderna Friday. My
Nice.
first shot.
And that's
Yeah.
just the singular shot, or is
That's
that
two.
two as well?
Johnson Johnson's a singular shot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, a friend of mine
Moderna
had the
is
Johnson and
also
Johnson.
two. Yeah. Who had Johnson Johnson?
A friend of mine did.
Yeah, I
She's
hear this
not had
thing.
an.
Did she have any effects after taking it?
I mean, the most I've ever heard is just some soreness, and then some people have been a little, for lack of a better term, jet lagged or just wore out later in the day. I had some soreness in the shoulder, but it didn't really affect me too awful much.
Did it make your
Um,
temperature? Did it give you a temp?
no, I was really hoping for that good internet, but it's not happened yet. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If it was going to improve my internet, that may or may not have provided reason to go.
It makes sense though. It makes sense.
I feel like that was false advertising at best.
Oh, they said it'd give you good internet if you took the vaccine.
There was a conspiracy theory going around, like they put 5G in the.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Now I can not have issues whenever I play Dungeons and Dragons online. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm a huge nerd.
We don't even have 5G around here. Our cellular towers don't even have 5G.
Yeah, it can it'll be an interesting day when that does happen here. I hope it's soon. I can only imagine. Sorry, you'll have to forgive me. My cat just crawled out from under here and I'm just moving it over there. Okay. No, it didn't crawl me at all.
Hi, Houston, you want to ask him your questions?
Yeah, definitely. Let's go for it. In
Cool.
any of your I guess your musical gigs or your theater gigs, if you will, has anybody ever asked you to sign anything that in your opinion you would say is kind of weird or unusual?
Well, the item itself wasn't unusual, but the circumstance was pretty unusual because I was doing a show down in Elkhorn, and there is a foreign student exchange program, and there was 1 year I'm sorry, both years actually, a student group from Ethiopia would come and take classes at a school in Elkhorn. And so they were lucky enough to come and see the show in Elkhorn, which at the first year was Wizard of Oz, and the second year was Beauty and the Beast. And so just somewhere in Ethiopia is a picture of me in a lion costume, and then a picture of me as of all things Gaston from Beauty and the Beast with this crazy wig on the playbill that the entire cast signed, and that exists somewhere in Ethiopia of me. So you could say I am now a world traveler, or have been for some time.
World famous.
International. That's better. World famous implies a much wider net of notoriety.
That's freaking awesome, though. What was when you signed that? Were you like, "This is pretty awesome," or were you just like, okay"?
Well, I mean, at first I was just taken aback because they knew a few words in English and could understand what I was saying. They would try to say this or that, and then like the immediate word might escape them, but they always found a workaround. And I was just taken aback, and I was just because they genuinely enjoyed it, and I was just like, that's really cool. I didn't know, firstly, that there was the foreign exchange program, and that they enjoyed it enough to want to keep that memory in some form or fashion. So it was genuine and humbling, I would imagine.
Absolutely.
So yeah. And then of course at my experiences with Jenny Wiley, I've met people who've been born in South America or come from across the pond in other regions like Europe and Great Britain. You meet a very wide variety of people as a statistical happenstance. I would imagine like the more places you go, the more likely you're to meet someone with a much different background than your own. Whereas if you just, go to like the immediate town, like if I don't know, I'm just rambling because I don't know what to say.
No, that's a wonderful answer though, and that's definitely one of the more different answers I've got. So I definitely appreciate the answer. Not that I don't appreciate all of them, but 9 times out of 10, most of the times when I ask somebody, it's like, "Oh, have you ever autographed anything weird?" It's like, "Oh, I autographed a bunch of boobs in the past."
That makes sense. I've yet
Yeah,
to do that. But I would say that that's on every musician's like Xbox Achievement of Life list. To autograph boobs.
I'll lock that achievement.
Exactly. Any famous person, they're just like, as soon as they've signed a pair, they're just like, I've made it.
Yep.
That's some of their milestones, to be just like, I've made it now, mom. That's exactly who they think about.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
don't.
Yeah, not probably shouldn't phone mom and let her know that achievement, huh?
Probably not.
And the second question is just because it's like, we kind of touched on before we started recording that getting denied autographs is a part of it. Sometimes it's heartbreaking, other times you're just like, well, I don't want your autograph anyway. But in your life as a child or a teenager, as an adult, have you ever asked for an autograph that you were denied and you were just kind of like, oh, okay then?
Well, there was a circumstance that when I was at college, I went to Northern Kentucky University, and the head of our theater department was acquainted with the actor Steve Zahn. The most immediate thing I can think of that people would know him from is the movie Sahara with Matthew McConaughey. He's been in a much wider array of movies. I thoroughly enjoy his style of acting. He came and spoke at our school. And of course, everybody afterwards in the theater program just like hoarded the front of the stage so that they could get handshakes and stuff. As a blanket statement, he's just like, the head of the theater department is like, look, we can't sign anything, but you can come up, you can ask you a question, get a handshake, quick moment, something like that. Come on up, kids. And so it was something like that. I went in beforehand knowing that I wouldn't unfortunately get an autograph, but I'd get to at least have a personal moment with this man who is very down to earth, surprisingly, from what any sort of actor is portrayed as normally, in at least in the Hollywood sense of normal.
Absolutely, yeah. And at least it was like I guess like it's a beautiful letdown, if you will. It's like you can't get his autograph, but he will talk to you and he will speak to you.
Yes. I'm just like, that's a fair trade.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
fair trade.
A little 50-50. I can live with that. That's not heartbreaking. And the third and final question is, like I was, saying before, whatever. It's my favorite one to ask, and I know you were going to think about an answer, and it's so hard. But if you could have one person's autograph, just one, dead or alive, past, present, anyone's autograph, just one, whose would it be?
Well, it took me a second to think about it, but it didn't take me longer than a second, really, because my favorite author is a man by the name of Terry Pratchett. And he unfortunately did pass a few years ago. And just his style of writing is so tongue-in-cheek. And the easiest way I can explain it is it's kind of like a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy style of writing, but with a fantasy setting. And yeah, there's really no way that I can describe it that would give it any sort of justice, other than to just be like, if you like cheeky humor, I would certainly give the Discworld series a try. But if I would probably hurt somebody to get an autograph. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what I would do to get a hold of his autograph, because I certainly would enjoy having a piece of memorabilia that, you know, he has gotten a hold of, especially with the amount of work that he's put out that I didn't know of beforehand. I was just like, oh, okay, I was aware of this reference to this work or show or something like that he had co-wrote the book for originally, and I'm just like, that makes so much sense now. Like Good Omens on the Amazon streaming service. I love that show, even though there's only the one season of it. But David Tennant and Michael Sheen going opposite each other, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm sometimes, like, when somebody is like, "Oh, I'd like to have like LeBron James autograph," I'm like, "LeBron, if you ever see this, get this man your autograph or something like that." And unfortunately, the one you want passed away. So, and it may be one of those things that you could like find on eBay or something like that. But and there's something, you know, finding autographs on eBay isn't a bad thing. But there's just something about having that person stand there in front of you and watching their hand write their name, and you know it's for you. It's just a little something more to it.
Yeah, it would be an amazing opportunity to have gotten to see him in any capacity live. But as long as I've got at least one of his books, there's the memory of him and his work, and what the and his way of thinking won't be gone.
Absolutely.
Malcolm, you actually seen you can tell Houston about this. Houston, he's seen some really cool stuff. He's seen some Elvis like autograph stuff, didn't you, Malcolm? Like at the theater.
Yes. When probably the first show that I was officially brought in to work at the Appalachian Center for the Arts was a show called $1 Million Quartet. And it's based on a real night in history when Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis Presley, and Johnny Cash were all in the same recording studio. And they all banged out a few tunes, and the director of the studio managed to snap a picture of them. It's online, you can look for it. And in the show, of course, there are some tunes that were not made at that time, but you know, these are some of the most famous tunes that these guys have ever made, and you can't have these guys in this show without having it was one of the Johnny Cash tunes, probably Ring of Fire, which back in the time when that happened certainly hadn't been made yet. So it was a wonderful experience. But there was a gentleman who didn't live too far away that had I do believe a former guitar of Elvis's, as well as one of his jackets from a movie that he was in. And so he was able to bring that in, as well as some letters of accreditation or whatever, to make sure that it is real. I forget what the exact term is. And but yeah, he brought all that stuff in. And then of course our Elvis Presley was just like, can I try it? And they're just like, yeah, why not? And then they snapped some pictures with it, and he was just like, had the biggest grin on his face. I almost said the other kind of grin. I didn't want to be too vulgar on here. I wasn't sure beforehand. I mean, but if I was wearing a jacket that Elvis wore and holding a guitar that he played in a movie, I would be pretty happy in that moment.
Yeah, there definitely might be an explicit or two rambled out, definitely,
to say the least.
Yeah, in the autograph world, I mean, just without a doubt, Elvis Presley and Michael Jackson are some of the hardest and most expensive autographs to come by. So to actually see one and to have the letter of authenticity with it is just, that's super impressive. And especially with it being movie props, my Lord, like
Yeah.
I would just sit there like, I don't even think I'd be able to speak if I seen something like that, just jaw on floor.
Very impressive.
It really is. there's something to say when you actually get to see, you know, a prop that was actually used in filming for a major scene, or you got to see a dress that somebody wore in a famous moment. Whenever you get to go to some sort of historic museum and see the memorabilia that was around during very historic moments. I don't know. I just remember seeing as a kid the dress that Jackie wore on the day that President Kennedy got shot. And
Wow.
so I was just like, that, like, even as a kid, I was just like, that's crazy. And even today, that's still how I think about it. So it's just, you know, things like that, it's like, it's weird to see how a sense of importance can even be carried through just a sort of odd object, you know, like that was just a dress. And then an event happened. That's no longer just a dress. That's a symbol of just complete tragedy. So it's wild to see that sort of thought transposed on an object.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100% on that. And I think that's a fantastic way to look at it, as in the feeling that invoked, because it's almost, I mean, it's almost art. You have feelings, and you know, you look at it a certain way, and it, you know, it invokes a different feeling or reaction in different people.
Well, I mean, honestly, I'd never thought about it that way, and that is a very provoking way a thought-provoking way to think to make that statement. I would definitely enjoy working that thought out a little bit more in the future. I'm gonna have to process that a good minute, because
Yeah,
I just never place those together like that in such a way, and I'm just like, that's huh. That's about the best way I can explain it at the moment.
yeah. And that's the thing about the autographs. You've got like two different sides of the coin. You've got the people who will do anything to get a person's autograph just so they can turn around and post it on eBay for sale and make a quick flip or a quick buck. And then you've got
Yeah.
I don't want to say, you know, I don't want to be too harsh to those people, because to each their own. But then you have the people like the genuine collectors like me, who have a story behind that autograph or that ball or that item or whatever. And that's the biggest thing in my collecting, is I try to have a story behind everything that I collect, so that way if somebody walks in the house and they're just like, oh, that's a, you know, sweet sign, like one of the signed footballs behind me and my grandfather went to a Carolina Panthers practice, and we hung out. We spent the day together, and that's like grandfather time right there that, you know, I'll cherish forever. And there's, if somebody offered me $4,000 for that ball, I wouldn't give it up, because that was the day that me and my granddad, you know, went to Charlotte for the day, and we got breakfast together, hung out together, that kind of thing. So that's just kind of tying that all in together.
Yeah. Yeah. Super cool.
So, Malcolm, are you ready to perform for us?
Why? Oh Lord, I just saw my face in the window there, and I was like, huh? Oh God.
Unfortunately, it looks like we only got 7 minutes left, and the Zoom meeting is going to end for some reason.
Yes. I guess we didn't do a sound check, or I didn't take the opportunity to do a sound check
It says the
beforehand.
Zoom. It says remaining meeting time is 7 minutes and 2 seconds.
I don't know how that happened. It wasn't me.
Oh, Zoom
Is that
meetings
coming
only
through
last.
okay?
Zoom meetings only last 40 minutes sometimes.
I was unaware of that. I will keep that in mind in the future. But yeah, is this coming through okay?
Sounds good on my end.
Yeah.
Okay. Mustang Sally, guess you better slow that Mustang down. Mustang Sally now, baby, guess you better slow that Mustang down. gonna be wiping your weeping eyes. All you want to do is ride around Sally, ride Sally, ride. All you want to do is ride around Sally, ride Sally, ride. All you want to do is ride around Sally, ride Sally, ride. One of these early mornings, I'm gonna be wiping your weeping eyes. Bought you a brand new Mustang, 1965. Now you come around, signifying, woman, you don't wanna let me ride. Mustang selling that, baby. Guess you better slow that Mustang down. Been running all over town. Guess I better put my flat feet right back on the ground.
Wow, man, good job.
Absolutely, absolutely loved it.
Oh, thank you so much. That's going to be one of the tunes that will be heard at one point during the evening. I had also planned to play some Tom Waits, maybe a couple of CCR tunes, some Flight of the Conchords, if they'll let me. Of course, I will have to be somewhat discretionary in my song selection. Can't be too vulgar. So I probably won't be able to get through Bad Touch by the Bloodhound Gang. I had hoped, but I didn't want to push my luck. Although I think they'll let me get away with the True Blood theme song, which is Bad Things. So close enough.
When is your show at Broken Thrones Brewing again? So you can
Yes,
promote
the show is going to be April the 21st, which I do believe is a Wednesday. I need to double check the calendar here. April the 21st. Yes, that is going to be on a Wednesday. I will start playing at 7:30. I'll set up there probably at about 7 and then do sound check and whatnot. They'll let me play all the way up until 9, and tips are most certainly welcome. That's it's going to
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think his internet connection cut out. I think.
Oh yeah. I don't really know exactly what just happened.
Little technical difficulties.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. But this has been the interview with Malcolm Johnson, Chasing the Graph. The link in the description. The Chasing the Graph's link will be in the description for his YouTube and Facebook. I want to thank Malcolm Johnson for doing the interview, and I want to thank Chasing the Graph for doing this weekly show every Wednesday. Y'all have a good night, and God bless.